Now, two pigeons bemoaning the fact you can stream DirecTV satellite-free.
These humans can stream all the top-rated national news channels on DirecTV, and now with no satellite dish.
This just in. Weather, sports, election coverage. DirecTV has it all, but something is missing. The satellite dish.
What are you doing?
I'm reporting the news. Back to you, Bob.
Here's some news. You're a buffoon.
Stream the top-rated national news channels. No satellite dish. Visit DirecTV.com. Internet required. Top-rated news based on 2023 Nielsen ratings.
This episode of the D-Lew podcast is brought to you by Goalie Nutrition. As someone who's used Goalie for quite some time, I can tell you that they're not only very good, but they're very beneficial. My favorite are the Super Green Gummies. The Super Green Gummies are uniquely crafted with a spectrum of essential nutrients such as vitamins A, B12, folic acid, and thiamine. It supports a healthy liver function, healthy nervous and immune system, digestive health, a boost to your metabolism, and overall health and well-being. There are no artificial sweeteners, flavors, or colors from artificial sources. They're vegan-friendly, gluten-free, and gelatin-free. All loyal listeners of the D-Lew podcast get a special 10% discount at checkout. Go to goalie.com, use promo code DLEW. That's goalie.com, use promo code DLEW. WWE Universe, the D-Lew podcast is now a brand affiliate of WWE Shop with Fanatics. Get all of your latest merchandise from your favorite WWE superstars and wear them proud. So if it's CM Punk, the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes, L.A. Knight, the Tribal Chief Roman Reigns, or legends like The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and Bret the Hitman Hart, again, you can get all of your favorite merchandise over at wrestling.thedlewpodcast.com. Again, that's wrestling.thedlewpodcast.com to get all of your favorite merchandise at WWE Shop with Fanatics. If you or a loved one have been a victim of domestic violence, help is available. Speak with someone today. You can contact the National Domestic Violence Hotline 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Available in English, Spanish, and over 200 languages through interpretation service. You can dial them at 1-800-799-7233. Again, that's 1-800-799-7233. Or text BEGIN, that's BEGIN, to 88788. This podcast is a Believe Network and Siete production. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to have this man on the show. I met him back in 2018 when I first got started at the world famous Monster Factory, when I first got started in wrestling. Now, although there is a huge age gap between he and I always felt that he and I grew up in wrestling together. He and I literally grew up together in wrestling. And that's not a slight on me. That's an honor for me to say that about this man. He is one of the stars of the docuseries you can see on Apple TV Plus entitled Monster Factory. Now, his family and loved ones, especially his mom, knows him as Hurley Jones Jr. But to the rest of us, he's the all-hungry Bobby Buffet. Welcome to the D-Lew podcast. How are you, man?
Dang, you know what? It's crazy that your introductions never cease to amaze me, whether in the ring or during the podcast. I love it.
Awesome, man. But like I said, we're not in the ring. We're just two guys just chilling like we do always in the locker room, man. So this is just no different, man. So, you and I grew up in the same area, basically, just maybe 20 minutes south of me. So tell me about life growing up in Plainfield, New Jersey.
Yeah. I mean, you know how that go. For people who don't understand, the difference between I don't know, hood suburbs and regular people suburbs. It's totally different. I mean, we got the city life, all the people, but 5 times the violence, you know what I mean? So I mean, growing up, it's like that Meek song, Championships. I love that song because they give real big introspect into what, people like us got to go through on a daily. We had to beat the system. We got to beat poverty. We got to beat racism. We got to beat all this stuff. And the system play into where we had to grow up at. Cause we ain't have nothing. Our educational system in the garbage. Nobody there got aspirations to do nothing but be on the street. That's all the stuff that's around me. You know what I mean? They don't have too many like positive adult figures on, male or female, around. You know what I mean? They don't care about nothing but just make you a worker bee, basically. You know,
Hmm.
ready for either the field or the other field. You know what I mean? Where you drilling or killing and all that stuff.
Right, right. No, I totally understand. Like I said, I grew up in Newark, and I mean, it's either one or two paths you could take. You know what I mean? So I totally get what you're saying.
Yeah,
So
facts.
absolutely. So talk about schools. During those years, those early years. Growing up in Plainfield, as far as like school and sports, and how you kind of gravitated towards athletics.
Yeah, I mean, when I was younger, I didn't really do too many sports. I couldn't get along with people in the city because, like, it wasn't where like the kids my age wasn't worried about sports. Some of them, you got some kids who did sports like football and stuff. I was too
Mhm.
big to play football when we were younger. They got the weight limit for Pop Warner and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
So I was really just chilling. I mean, I was a wrestling fan, but you can only go so far with wrestling when you were a kid. You know what I'm saying? You can't. There's nothing in the city that do wrestling or anything like that. Um, but when I got to high school, my sister forced me to join the football team,
Hmm.
and I got into that, and it was good because it was easy for me. I was strong already. I was, working out. I had a good system going.
Hmm.
I started to get into other sports like track. I played basketball for a little bit, bowling, did discus shot put, and all that stuff. And I like the popularity I was starting to get from doing sports.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So yeah, it was cool. But then I got scholarships and all that stuff, but I didn't take them because I wasn't feeling college. You know what I'm saying? Like just being in that environment. It was like I didn't want to be in high school. Why would I want to go to college? So then I started playing
Hmm.
semi-pro football. I did that for a year, and then I realized, man, like I'm doing all these sports, I'm good at it, whatever, athletic, but like, I'm not doing what I really want to do, you know? So I ended up finding the Monster Factory from there.
Wow.
Started getting that plan into action, yeah.
So you said you had scholarships. So what school do you know? Remember what schools made you some offers, and what sports did they offer you those scholarships?
Yeah, it was all football. Scholarship, I got a scholarship to Georgetown, Sacred Heart, football. Those were the D1 ones. I had a couple
Georgetown. Wow.
NAIA. Yeah. I was like, everybody was so excited for me. It was like, oh, I want you to go to college and play. I didn't want to go to college because I already knew what I wanted to do. Essentially, like I had an idea, and nothing that I wanted to do had anything to do with college. You know what I mean? It was like, to me, it was just more like a waste of time. It would have been a waste of time, money, and energy. Um, but yeah, those places I got, Southwestern and Texas also. I got Muhlenberg and PA, but those were D3, so I wasn't worried about those.
Right. And what position you play?
I played D tackle all 4 years until my senior year. I had to play guard too because somebody got injured. And I was starting on both sides of the ball. I never even paid attention to the offensive side of football until bro got injured and they just threw me in there. I'm like, what are y'all talking about? I don't do this.
Right, 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 right. Totally different vernacular and just things you have to learn on the fly and everything, right?
Yeah, it's different, but the good thing, like the one thing I liked about being a lineman is that like at the end of the day, it's just a dog fight
Hmm.
every single time. You know what I
Yes,
mean?
indeed.
And that helped me a lot. Like getting some of the pent up, like stuff I had in me, like dealing with everything, home life, trauma, all that stuff.
Right.
That helped me express that anger or let out that anger. That was my avenue. So I liked football, tackling people. It's just straight dog fights. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
yeah, I
Wow.
made a way out of it.
So you mentioned about the Monster Factor, and we'll get to that in just a second. So when was it? What age did you discover pro wrestling? Obviously on television, I would imagine. What
Hmm.
age? And obviously there was only especially the age the time you were coming up, there was only one promotion. that was around, obviously,
Yeah,
WWE.
thanks.
So
Hmm.
what time period was it that you kind of had your eye on it, and how did you get hooked, as we say? How'd you get hooked to the business?
I started watching when I was like 6. That's
Hmm.
like 2004, and it was really on and off at the first couple years because
Hmm.
for me it was more like I used to be scared of everything like when I was that young, like
Hmm.
scared of getting hurt, scared of scared of everything, scared of pain definitely though, but like like you see wrestlers like Rey Mysterio, like all the underdogs. He was getting beat up every week. The Great
Hmm.
Khali, freaking Mark Henry, and
Right.
he's getting beat down, but he's taking it like a champ. But, he wasn't really scared. You know what I mean? And I
Right.
just thought it was crazy how like these people are larger than life. These people like they face an Undertaker. And at this time, I'm thinking all this shit real. So it's
Right.
like
Right.
I'm like, oh, you got these big monsters and all these people, and they fighting them, and they don't even care. You know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to be like them.
Hmm.
And the more I watched it, just the more I was immersed in it, and like I just it was the one thing like I used to have so many like little interests, like, and I would like it for a second and then get over it. And I
Hmm.
always find something to be cynical about, but then wrestling was the one thing that just kept my attention. Like once I got it, I never like strayed
Hmm.
away from it. So I knew from like from an early age that it was something that was going to be special to me, if that makes sense. I would even imagine myself being like, damn, I hope I don't got to face the Undertaker like one day. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
I don't know what I would do, but like, stuff like that, it'd be crazy.
Yeah, I had the same. I started watching when I was 4, and it was like, again, to your point, like when kids, they pick up one thing and then they put it away because they're constantly learning about themselves.
Hmm.
But it's like when once you're hooked, and for people that listen to this show, please understand, it's almost like if you have a favorite artist or you have a favorite movie star, whatever the case, when you get hooked to pro wrestling, like it's a different animal, man. I don't know
Yeah.
why. I don't know, literally. And it's crazy now, all these years later now, when people that I've taught, mind you, this year I graduated high school 26 years ago, and people still refer to me as the wrestling guy.
Yeah.
You still watch wrestling? You still, oh, I always knew you be in wrestling. I always knew you be in it, because you used to talk about it all the time. But
Thanks.
that's the thing. You know what I mean? So once you're hooked, you're hooked. So I totally get what you're saying. So you said you did, you kind of told football, hey man, I'm done with you. Even on the
Hmm.
semi-pro level, you said, all right, I'm done with you. And you ultimately chose pro wrestling. So how did you find the Monster Factory? How'd you get in contact with Danny Cage? Shout out to Danny Cage, by the way. And
Thanks.
how did that all come to be?
So like when I was younger, I like to call myself intuitive somewhat.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I got a logistical way of thinking for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
When I was watching like at my peak, I think Sheamus when he first came into WWE, he won the championship so fast.
Oh,
And
nine, yeah, yeah.
and oh now like it took him 6 months from when he debuted on the roster when he won the title. And I was just so amazed with it because I'm like, damn, that's my goal, right? I want to
Mm-hmm.
be, if I'm getting into wrestling, me, as a person, I just want the best that I can, achieve. So, yeah,
Absolutely.
if I'm in WWE, like I want to be WWE champion. I want to be Universal champion, whatever, whatever. I want to break records, all that shit. Um, and he went in it so fast. I'm like, damn, he must have a good ass trainer. Like whoever he learned from, I want to learn from them.
Right.
Lo and behold, you look it up and it says he trained at the Monster Factory. So right there was on my radar, knowing it was in Jersey and I lived in Jersey. I'm like, okay. And I figured I would like when I'm at this age, oh nine, I was 11. So I figured I was gonna go to college. You know what I'm saying? Save up money by the time I'm old enough. I just join the Monster Factory and start training. Um, but it didn't work like that, obviously, because life is real life, and they don't prepare you for real life when you 11. You know what I'm saying?
Facts. Facts.
Um, so yeah, I was work like I was literally playing semi-pro. I just finished the season up. I was still working. Like I was working 3 jobs at the time. 3 jobs. Like literally, I would go to work, Dairy Queen 10 to 2, 10 a.m. to 2, go work security from 3 to 11, and go to FedEx 3 in the morning to 8 in the morning. And it was great because I was never broke, but then I was just always tired. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right.
Um, and I was just sitting doing my security job one day, and I was on Twitter. You know, I'm an Eagles fan.
Hmm.
Chris Long, he had tweeted something, and Danny responded to him, and I'm like, damn. I was like, oh, he's a Monster Factory dude. I'm like, I need to get in there soon. And he was like, all right, we got open ring today. And I'm like, he like, see you at 6. I'm like, nah, bro. Like, I need time to get ready or whatever. And you know, Dan, he like, what's stopping you?
What's stopping you? Right, 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 right.
Like, to be honest, I get off at 3. I can make that trip, whatever, whatever. So, um, yeah, I took the trip, and ever since that day, like, it was amazing. You know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
I smooth. You probably seen it in the docuseries. I lied about training so I could get in the ring that day.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? I gave Jimmy Dunn a shoulder tackle. He sold it so hard. I was like, holy, you know what I'm saying? But like, just being in the atmosphere from the second I walked in, like I knew it was right decision. You
It's
know what
almost
I
like
mean?
it felt like you was home, right?
Yeah, literally. Like
Hmm.
I remember taking a video before I left, and I was like, I was like, I think I just made the best decision in my life.
Wow, that's incredible.
Shopify is the global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business. Shopify is there to help you grow. Shopify helps you sell everywhere, from their all-in-one e-commerce platform to their in-person POS system. Shopify's got you covered. Shopify helps you turn browsers into buyers with the internet's best converting checkout, 36% better on average compared to other leading commerce platforms, and sell more with less effort thanks to Shopify Magic, your AI-powered all-star. What I love about Shopify is how no matter how big you want to grow, Shopify gives you everything you need to take control and take your business to the next level. Shopify powers 10% of all e-commerce in the U.S., and Shopify is the global force behind Allbirds, Rothy's, and Brooklinen, and millions of other entrepreneurs of every size across 175 countries. Plus, Shopify's award-winning help is there to support your success every step of the way. Because businesses that grow with Shopify. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/Westwood1, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Westwood1 now to grow your business, no matter what stage you're in. Shopify.com/Westwood1.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Because Progressive offers discounts for paying in full, owning a home, and more. Plus, you can count on their great customer service to help you when you need it, so your dollar goes a long way. Visit Progressive.com to see if you could save on car insurance. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states or situations.
Now, two pigeons bemoaning the fact you can stream DirecTV satellite-free.
These humans can stream all the top-rated national news channels on DirecTV, and now with no satellite dish.
This just in. Weather, sports, election coverage. DirecTV has it all, but something is missing. The satellite dish.
What are you doing?
I'm reporting the news. Back to you, Bob.
Here's some news. You're a buffoon.
Stream the top-rated national news channels. No satellite dish. Visit DirecTV.com. Internet required. Top-rated news based on 2023 Nielsen ratings.
Now, like I said, you and I started around the same time. And I remember when you the early days, and for those that don't know, like when you first start training, I mean, you don't get matches just yet. When you're training, you're given jobs. So sometimes you're going to have to do security. Sometimes you're going to have to sell merch. You're going to have to sell concessions. You're going to have to work the door. You're going to have to do ring crew. You're going to have to do all these things to learn all the aspects of the pro wrestling business. And it's no different than what they do in developmental at NXT down at the Performance Center. It's no different. Everybody has to chip in and do and pay their dues. So I've seen Bobby literally do this from the time he started training, and that was when I first got there. So obviously in the early part, there were some ups and downs and things like that as far as life versus, wrestling. So talk about that a little bit as far as how you were able to navigate through those tough times.
It was hard, definitely, especially in the beginning. Like living in Plainfield, that's about 2 hours from the Monster Factory. So when I first started, I had a car, and I tried to make as many connections as I could, but I want to say honestly, probably like 2 weeks or 3 weeks after I start like first signed up, my car broke down. Um, and for a stretch, it was like I'm trying to get there, but ain't nobody I know gonna drive me 2 hours to practice. I'm saying? No matter how much money I offer them.
Right.
Um, I'm not taking a Uber because I'm not gonna be able to get back home. You know what I mean? It's
Mm-mm.
easy to get an Uber there, but if I'm leaving at 10, 11, 12, it's gonna be hard to get home.
Right.
Um, so I ended up linking with Jester around this time.
Yeah.
This is around the first time I met Jimmy the Jester.
Rest in peace,
R.I.P.
Jimmy the
So
Jester, by the way. Yeah.
my brother, man, and like I used to meet him like halfway, and then we drive up together and come back. I'll probably take an Uber home. Sometimes he'd drop me off when it's too late or when I was too broke. But it was hard because coming up from so far, I couldn't come up every day. You know what I mean? And then I see people who start around the same time as me getting opportunities first. And then, I see people who started after me getting opportunities first. And, what I'm saying? Because the resources for them is more available than it is to me. Um, and that's not a knock at them, you know what I'm saying? Because if you take up, you, as long as you take advantage of the opportunities in front of you, you're doing right by my book. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? I can't blame nobody for, the situation I'm in or I ever am. But, it was disheartening. Like there'd be times where I literally leave like in tears because I couldn't do shit I wanted. I like knew I was, built to do.
Right.
And Jester would try to like, tell me, oh, your time's gonna come, don't worry about it, don't worry about it. It's hard to accept in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
So I've seen the bigger, broader picture.
yeah, because sometimes, like life get bigger than the bigger picture. That's a big thing that people don't talk about in wrestling. Like, yeah, you're supposed to be larger than life here. You know what I'm saying? You see the bigger picture here, but as soon as you leave them doors, you got real life to deal with.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And nobody talks about that, especially at this level. Like, I don't get to go home to, you know, uh, I don't get to get a big indie paycheck yet. You know what I mean? I don't get the super followers. I got a whole TV show about me, bro. I'm still, what I'm saying? I'm still working.
Right.
Still working a day job. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's a hard struggle, but the good moments do kind of make up for it. You know what I mean? And hopefully you just keep grinding until you see like better, great moments.
Absolutely. Now, I mean, we talked about him a little bit, but I want to take a little bit of a deep dive as far as your relationship with the owner, head coach, and trainer of the world famous Monster Factory, the one and only Danny Cage. How much of a mentor has he been to you, not just in pro wrestling, but in life in regards to getting you on the right track and getting you to understand the business of the business and how everything works?
Yeah, he's been literally instrumental. I talk about this, I feel like a lot when it comes to podcasts, but I don't mind it because, like I feel like giving people their flowers, especially while they're here, is so important.
Indeed.
Me and Dan will never agree on everything.
Mm-hmm.
But like the one thing I appreciate about him is, having so many like, coming from an athletic background, I've had so many coaches. So I
Mm-hmm.
know how I kind of had an idea what to expect, especially, people saying he's a hard ass coach. Like I kind of had an idea of what to expect.
Right.
But like I don't know, it's interesting, especially someone coming from like my type of background who don't have too many positive male like figures in their life. It
Mm-hmm.
was it was refreshing to have someone like Dan. I don't really look up to him like a father, but like I don't like I can kind of see it. Like we're starting to get that relationship where like like I trust him and he trusts me. You know what I'm saying? Like I can confide in him and he can confide in me, and it's like I like that because there's times where I feel like I got nobody to talk to. And, when I can rely on someone like, my coach to be there for me deeper than just the ring, you know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
he's been there when I've real life felt like I had no options. You know what I mean? There's times I make mistakes and I like he would tell me he's disappointed in some things I've done and then, like I feel like dang, I just let my dad down. even though, like I said, I don't look at them like that. But you get what I mean? It's an interesting kind of relationship we have in that sense.
But if you listen to a lot of like, especially on the NFL level, because I think it's a lot relatable as far as football and wrestling. I think it goes hand in hand a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You see some of these players and they talk about their head coaches. When you talk about, whether it's the Bill Belichick's of the world, whether it's the Bill Parcells, if it's Sean Payton, Pete Carroll, Mike Tomlin, the list goes on about some of these successful head coaches and how these players, like, just utter exactly what you just said about it's deeper than just football.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And or in Dan's case, it's deeper than just pro wrestling, where you can literally go to him and talk to him about home life, family life, or whatever it is that's going on in your world outside of the ring. I think that's important to have, because if all it is just wrestling, then there's really no substance to that relationship. You know what I mean? Because if that means you really don't care about me as a human, you just care about, okay, if I can do this spot or whatever, and I can, fill a spot on your card. It's deeper than that. So I think when you establish those type of relationships with your students, and understand that you're in their corner, it can go a long way. And obviously you started to get more ring time. When I was starting to get my feet wet in regards to the ring announcing, you were starting to do more matches, and I was starting to see, okay, Bobby's trying to find, it was that rough, I don't want to say it was a rough period, but I just think that anyone that's trying to do anything in the sports and entertainment realm, of course, there's going to be growing pains, and that's a good thing. That's a very, very good thing. So let's talk about some of those growing pains, the good, and some of the opportunities that you had gotten once you started getting some more matches under your belt.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was a little awkward at first. It might have seemed, and I don't know if it really seemed like that to everyone else, because, to be honest, once I debuted, my popularity kind of skyrocketed from the get-go.
Mm-hmm.
And like, even now, like, people will assume I'm so seasoned when it comes to wrestling. Man, I still haven't even had 100 matches yet. Isn't that crazy?
It's
I'm
crazy to think
close.
about.
I'm like two matches away, but I'm not there yet. And it's when I first debuted, probably like in my first 10 matches was like a heavyweight title shot. And getting to be in the ring with people like, veterans at that time, like Getty, Shaheen, people like them, they kind of elevated me, because I was just learning so much. But
Right.
but when you try and do it on your own or with people in the same level, what I'm saying, it's a lot of growing pains. It was awkward for me because I'm like, like my whole character, Bobby Buffet, what I'm saying? That's me, but that wasn't me. What I'm saying? Like, yeah, I'm a cool, chill dude, and Bobby Buffet is literally me on 11 now, but it
Right.
wasn't fine-tuned like that in 2020. You know what I mean? Definitely not 2019, because the Bobby Buffet back then, he was too caught up in trying to be how, what I'm saying, like how I want to be perceived. Everybody got their character they wanna be when they first come out. What I'm saying? It's probably
Right.
like cooler than how you are in real life, all that good shit.
Right. Right.
Um, and I had no idea. Like, I thought Bobby Buffet was just gonna be this big tough dude. But no, like, I could be fun loving and still be tough. You know what I mean? So
Right.
it took a minute to make it click. But once I made it click, I feel like the opportunities just kept coming. Like 2300, the reality show, the title shot. Like, I wasn't even supposed to win the title. And then here I am breaking the record and becoming the all-time, like, longest reigning champ.
Yeah. I actually remember when you got your very first title shot against Getty.
Hmm.
And that's actually in my ring announcer reel.
Really?
But it is. And to say that I was the ring announcer for your first title shot, that's an honor for me to say. And when I tell you guys, when I had the fact that I've literally seen the growth of this man, it's I can't even describe it to you on how good it has been to see the manifestation and the the growth of Bobby and who he is as a talent performer and as a man, as a human being. And it's been great to see. So as you were growing and you were, matches and you're getting your reps, and I think that's the key of wrestling to me, is just a lot of reps.
Oh yeah.
Obviously training, and you take what you do in training and you apply it to doing it in front of people. And I think that's the Monster Factory. To me, it's a really unique situation because, granted, yeah, you pay dues or whatever the case, but the education that you're getting is just impeccable, because you're going to be put on shows and you get to perform in front of people. You get to make mistakes in front of people. You get to
Hmm.
do all these things in front of people, and then you get better at it. And when you keep
Yeah.
getting better at it, and then you begin to find your groove. And even I'm speaking from experience, because me as a ring, I cringe when I listen to my stuff from 2019. Oh my God. I can't
Really?
even, I cringe because I'm just like, what in the world was I doing? But I wasn't the Derrick T. Lewis, the ring announcer that I am now. Not that I'm this great, whatever. I'm
The
still
best one I
learning.
know.
I
The best
appreciate
one I
that.
know.
But I mean, but it took
100%.
me a while, you know what I mean, to get there. And I'm totally, and it's, again, I'm not training in the ring, but it's the same process. And when you're trying to get good at something, you know what I mean? And just
Mm-hmm.
all you're doing is getting reps, you're getting reps. Now, obviously, once we came back from the pandemic, and by the way, during the pandemic, um, how did you navigate through that without training? Because everything was closed at the time. So what did Bobby Buffet do during those, was it 7 months that we were closed, 8 months or whatever? We were closed from what, March to like October of 2020, something like that. So what did you do during that time?
Well, we didn't wrestle. Like we didn't have like, physical training. Like we couldn't touch each other. But there was like, outside of the ring stuff we were doing, like workshops, character development, and all that stuff. Um, but honestly, the pandemic was one of those times where like, it was like one of those big defining moments of my life and career because I was making mistakes left and right. Like I'm talking outside of the ring. Um, that was I don't know if we ever had this conversation, but in 2020 I was on trial
I
for
think we had a very brief conversation about it, and it was just one of those things we are going to leave on hold. But by all means, you have the floor.
I mean shoot, it was everybody know me as a pothead somewhat, I feel like. But before it was legal, I got caught up with some of that stuff. And it was I was facing time, you know what I mean? It was one of those things where if it wasn't for the grace of God, luck, if it wasn't for, people trying to be crooked that, karma kind of work out in the way it worked out,
Mm-hmm.
I probably wouldn't even be doing this interview right now.
Wow.
That's how serious it was. I was supposed to do I had a charge that supposed to put me on 7 years minimum.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and I was, at that time I'm like thinking, dang, my life over, my wrestling career is over, and I couldn't think about the future. I couldn't think about anything, just the present moment, because I'm like assuming all this time, like I'm on trial for a good, I was on trial for a good like 6 months. I'm assuming the whole time I'm like going to jail for some period. Like the 7 year part kind of got kind of got smacked down early.
Mm-hmm.
But from there, it was 7 years to a year and a half. Then I was supposed to do 9 months. Then I was supposed to do 6 months. And then I ended up just having to pay $733 by the grace of God. So lucky.
Wow.
People trying to be lucky. Um, and the timing, because, marijuana became legal as soon as that 2021 started and the whole, we voted in Jersey, so it kind of took the whole basis of my stop out. Um, but it was just like one of those mistakes, and I'm like, I was at a low period where I had to think about a lot of things, what I wanted, what I was doing, the path I was taking, the people I was around, just like a whole inside introspective, like, had to do a cleanup. And I think that's like it. It was like the predecessor for like one of the biggest redemption stories I've probably ever seen in my life. Like forget like the 3-1 comeback for the Cavs. Like I'm talking, bro, I was supposed to do 7 years and then I come back to wrestling on the pre-show in 2021, and then a year later, I'm the longest reigning heavyweight champion in the history of the school. You know what I mean? So it's just crazy how life works. Like it really is just crazy how life works.
Yeah, and I mean, even from afar, or I was kind of near, but afar, I saw the growth with you. I would say post pandemic, and just your rise as you really started to really hone your craft from all aspects. You know what I mean? And then, of course, the life part. I thought, and I saw some things just from afar about you were really caring about a lot of things life wise, and it was making me proud. You know what I'm saying? And to see you work and to see you in the people just love you, and that's the cool thing about it, man, is that no matter what, like everyone loves Bobby Buffet. People come to see you, and like I said, I was really seeing that post pandemic, but of course, you were talking about you weren't supposed to win the title, and I can remember vividly. I think you had got a title shot, and I think it was supposed to have been against Steve Macklin, who was the champion at the time. And there was something that happened with his flight that, like for a shoot, got canceled or something like that, because he lives in Florida. So they worked out something. Danny was doing the heel thing, and then he put the title on himself, and then he put the stack the deck against you, and I announced you as the new champion. You won with the spear ribs and pinned Danny Cage to become the MFPW heavyweight champion. I'm about to get emotional here, but I can remember being in Gorilla, and after I announced she was the new champion, I broke down because I was like, my little brother just went out there and did it. After you told me, you said, man, I'm going to get there someday. I'm going to get there. I'm going to get there. And I'm just like, you're going to do it. I knew you was going to do it. And I was the first person to greet you when you came down. And I gave you probably the biggest hug in the world, because I was just man, I was just so proud. That was a proud big brother moment for me, as a friend, as a colleague, as a contemporary. It's just like, damn, that's the real part of wrestling, guys, that folks don't understand. It's the stuff that happens behind the scenes. It's the stuff that happens, away from the cameras, away from the fans. That's the real part of wrestling, as far as seeing someone literally just rise from the ashes and just become, larger than life, that becomes the better version of themselves. And that was huge to see. You know what I mean? So that's coming from me, and I just wanted you to know that. So what was that like when you heard, me announce you as the champion? You are now the heavyweight champion, like literally. And for guys that know or don't know, when in the world of professional wrestling, when they put, as they say, the big belt on you, that's basically the promotion saying that we trust you, and you're going to be the flag bearer for our company to sell tickets, merchandise, etc., etc. So when you found out, but then when it really happened, what was that feeling like for you?
Yeah, it's interesting because as you know, wrestling's predetermined. So
for sure.
Knowing the circumstances like leading up to the match, and I know we're talking about like in the moment, but I just want to touch beforehand for a second. Like knowing everything that was going to happen. Steve Macklin had the belt. He's supposed to face Cheech, Daniel Alexander. And I knew Cheech was going to win. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's right.
This is something we talked about, probably like a month in advance. So then when we went to a booking together, me and Cheech, and it was a bunch of factory guys, and he ended up with a concussion afterwards. Probably like a week before that show, where he was supposed to face Macklin. So he ended up out, and then I remember I was literally in the hood. I was in the hood. I remember, and I was with a bunch of just like my friends from back home, and then like Nick Petit called me. He was like, "Hey, did you check Monster Factory page?" And I'm like, "No, why?" and he told me to check in. I read that I was getting a title shot, so I knew I was winning the title from there. But I didn't want to I didn't want to think too deep about it because I'm like, I'm not Cheech, I'm saying I'm not
Right.
Daniel Alexander, so I'm like, plans could change, whatever, whatever. But I'm like, okay, in my head, like I knew this was the thing. Then the day of, we do the pre-show meetings. I didn't know Steve Macklin was going to get there till I got there. When I walked in, Dan was the first person I saw. He was like, "It's you versus me, bitch." And I'm like, "What?" And he started laughing, and I'm like, "Okay." But then I figured out what happened and all that. And then, we talking about it. He told me I'm gonna win the title in a pre-show meeting. So I'm knowing this whole time, like, it's gonna happen. And but like being in the moment, hearing the announcement, ripping the belt off Dan, holding it for the first time, hearing the fans like cheer, what I'm saying? It's giving me chills now. Like I was literally crying in the ring
You
if
were.
nobody could notice. But yeah, it was just like a culmination of everything, what I'm saying? Like I did it, what I'm saying? I came from the bottom, literally my lowest point, but I did what I said I was going to do. What I'm saying? At the end of the day, there's people who lost faith in me. There's people who never thought I could do it. But at the end of the day, I know what I'm capable of, what I'm saying? And I made that shit happen. And that was,
100%, bro.
what I'm saying? That was like top peak moment for me.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Because Progressive offers discounts for paying in full, owning a home, and more. Plus, you can count on their great customer service to help you when you need it, so your dollar goes a long way. Visit Progressive.com to see if you could save on car insurance. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states or situations.
Now, two pigeons bemoaning the fact you can stream DirecTV satellite-free.
These humans can stream all the top-rated national news channels on DirecTV, and now with no satellite dish.
This just in. Weather, sports, election coverage. DirecTV has it all, but something is missing. The satellite dish.
What are you doing?
I'm reporting the news. Back to you, Bob.
Here's some news. You're a buffoon.
Stream the top-rated national news channels. No satellite dish. Visit DirecTV.com. Internet required. Top-rated news based on 2023 Nielsen ratings.
It's time to have your high five moment with High Five Casino, the top social casino where the action and real prizes never stop. Fun spins and big wins are right at your fingertips with over 1,000 games, including High Five Casino exclusives. High Five Casino is always free to play with free coins given out every 4 hours. Sign up today and get free welcome coins you can spin for a chance at cash prizes. Visit highfivecasino.com.
High Five Casino.
No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. Must be 21 years or older. Terms and conditions apply.
Yeah. Now, the next month at Turkey Slam, you actually debuted your song. And let me tell you, man, to me, that was the turning point I felt to we know the Bobby Buffet that we know now. Because you gave us a peek of the fact that you can spit. Like, you can rap, bro. You can, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You actually did your
you.
own theme. I mean, hell, guys, John Cena that's John Cena rapping on his own song. You know what I mean? So when did you say, okay, hey, I have to take it up a notch, do this song? And did you think that it was going to push you further than you thought it could once you debuted that song?
Interesting. That's an interesting question that I've never had before. So like I don't know how everybody else goes about like choosing theme music. But for me, I'm like, all right, this song would sound good coming out. This song would sound good when you win, because like this sometimes it's different.
Right.
Like, what I'm saying, they play like different pieces of the songs, like when you win or when you what I'm saying, when you come out. And then I need a song that sounds like, since I'm a babyface, it needs to sound good when I win. Like if I'm winning a title, it needs to be, what I'm saying, it needs to be good for that moment.
Right.
So I did, like, my first theme was a little rock theme, but I think it fit really well. It still fit for, what I was. But I figured that, since I got a belt now, you know what I'm saying, I'm the heavyweight champion, I figured I needed to take it up a notch. And I was like, you know, I'm looking at, you know, all these songs out here, but I'm like, nobody knows my vision better than what I got. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? My vision. So I just kind of sat down and got to work. And I knew as soon as I won a title, I wanted to do that. Um, and literally the night before Turkey Slam, it was the big defense. And I'm like, you know what? Biggest show of the year. I got my new gear. What's a better time to just like show everybody like the new Bobby Buffet 2.0 type beat, you know what I mean? So, you know, and I remember coming out because I was number one, so I got the theme song. I got to have the whole entrance. Coming out, I heard like I seen the people bopping, their heads bopping, and then people came up to me after the match, and they're like, "Yo, who did your theme song, or where is it? Can I find it?" I'm like, "Bro, I just made that last night. Stop it." Like, you know what I'm saying? But then it turned into a movement. Everywhere I go, they're like, "Yo, your theme song's so fire," and I'm like, "Ah, thanks, I made it." You know, it's something real cool, but it's like me. It's something that, you know, I put my whole creative vision into.
I mean, honestly, man, like every time, you're coming out to the ring, like I literally sing the song in the ring under my breath because it's such when it's almost like the song is the if you was to look up the word Bobby, if Bobby Buffet was in the in Webster's dictionary, that song would basically be the definition of who you are because you're basically telling the people who you are.
Yeah,
6 feet and 300 pounds. That's a lot of man. You know what I mean? Like that, those little things, you know what I mean? Little slick bits that's in there related to food and you and your personality, and the people just eat it up. No pun intended. But you get my point.
yes,
You
sir.
see how that you see how I just came out,
Yes, sir. I like that. I like how you did that.
but I'm
Yes,
just saying it people just enjoy it. So it's like there's no, in other words, there's no dead silence when you come out because the
right.
people hear that when they hear that song, hear the instrumental, they know it's eating time. They know
Oh
it's Bobby
yeah.
Buffet time.
Oh
They
yeah.
know I'm telling you, it's so cool to see the fans, and then when you come out and it's just like you and the fans just do this, you become one.
Oh yeah. It's so pivotal to me. Just that theme. It man, from the like you said, like as soon as that bass hit, you know, it puts a feeling in me that's like, all right, time to go connect. You're right, it's feeding time, you know what I'm saying? You know, from the
Mm-hmm.
moment it hit, something serious, something good is about to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Something in that realm. But you know, like, you know exactly what you're gonna get when you hear that.
Absolutely, absolutely, 100%. Now, let's pivot to the docuseries. That's why we're here. The docuseries Monster Factories. It's a 6-part, 30-minute each episode of docuseries, and it was basically a production company that followed us around for about a good 7-8 months, and just really about the day in the life of our main Bobby being one of the main stars of the show. But of course, it showed a lot of us that are at the Monster Factory, some that are no longer there. But when you were presented with the opportunity, when I'm pretty sure Dan had to talk with you in regards to, hey, we're going to highlight you, was there any apprehension about it, or were you more optimistic about the opportunity?
I think I was more optimistic than anything. I mean, you know, like I first got hit with that idea probably like a month after I won the title.
Okay.
And it was one of those things where I'm like, yeah, I mean, sure, I hope. Like I didn't know how it was gonna go because you know I never been around that many cameras. I never been on no docuseries. I'm just an ordinary dude from the hood, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, I was excited, but I was hoping that, you know, I got to be in it long enough for it to matter, you know what I'm saying? Um, and you know, when they told me I was gonna be a focal point, I was very excited. Uh, I'm more excited than anything. It wasn't anything that would really stop me from doing it, if that makes sense. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? So I just tried to go into it open, and I mean it was interesting though because you know that's my whole reign damn near is on display. You know what I'm saying? So you got to see me mature essentially. You know what I'm saying? From me getting my first title and me still having my first, scoop of matches to like where I am now. And it's just crazy to look back at that time like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, damn, I done so much growing up.
Right. Now, when were you used to the cameras being around? Was it hard to adjust to, oh damn, like there's a camera there now, or your mic or whatever? Was there any, oh man, here they go again, or was it just like this part of the game?
At the time, I wasn't minding it. Like the cameras, we always had cameras set up during practice because Dan he likes to have us practice like we preach, and we record matches, we record the shows and all that stuff. So
Right.
I'm used to being around cameras, but like the mic packs, having to wrestle with them things, and being a focal point was different. You know what I'm saying? Because now the camera's not on the whole class. Like the camera was focusing on me, just following me around for stuff. It was a little different in that sense, but it wasn't in a bad way, if that makes sense. I would never get annoyed with that aspect of, being on being a part of a docuseries.
Right, right.
Hmm.
Now, how vulnerable was it vulnerable for you, I guess, to tell your story and to bare your soul to close to 45 million people, subscribers that are on Apple TV, as far as home life and everything of the sort?
It was somewhat vulnerable because if I don't know you, I don't really talk about my personal life at all.
Right, right.
Um, but looking back now, seeing like like Twitch and Gabby give their stories and get so deep or how they did, I kind of wish I was more vulnerable because I hear them talk about how people reach out to them about similar things they go through and how they inspire people and for me that's been my whole goal since I got in this. I want to inspire people. Not only like do I want to make a living out of this, obviously for myself, but this I'm sure there's so many people like when I was younger and I got into wrestling, that was how I made friends. You know what I'm saying? Like I was not social beforehand. I was
Hmm.
trying to fit in, you know what I'm saying? And the common denominator between me and all my friends was they like wrestling. You know what I'm saying? And that shit gets lost on you as you get older because when I'm in high school, ain't nobody think about wrestling. You want to be
Right,
a wrestler or you corny, you know what I'm saying? Like
right,
either playing football, basketball, or you selling drugs or you a gangbanger, you know what I'm saying? Or you make music or some dumb shit like that. But like
right.
not dumb shit, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No,
Um,
that's what I understand.
but like you know what I'm saying? Like I wonder how many people end up giving up on something they really like because, what I'm saying, their environment telling them no.
Peer
So
pressure,
like
the wrong peer pressure.
yeah, so I'm like, I want to be that beacon. I want to be that beacon for people, and I wish I would have took like more of an opportunity to be even more vulnerable. But that's just something I get to keep in mind for the next time, I guess.
Yeah, because I mean, I'll be honest with you, like the Goldie story completely shocked me
Yeah.
because when you see Goldie now and you see this character confident, ripped to shreds, I mean, takes care of
Hmm.
his body, he does all these things, and to see and to find out that he was just a very shy kid from South Jersey, I'm just like, really shy to the point where he didn't want to be around anybody. Like that shocked me.
Hmm.
So to also, he's another person that I've he was there a little bit before I was, but to also see him grow was pretty cool to see too. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Hmm.
Now, what I didn't know during the tape, because again, the only time that I was a part of taping was obviously during show days, because I'm only required to be there for show days. And I think I came to a couple of trainings just to be there and stuff, just to kind of see, what was going on. And I didn't know that the 2300 Arena show in Philly was a showcase. I had no idea until I watched the show. I was completely
Really?
shocked. I was like, oh, really? So knowing that this was what it was going to be, did you feel by being champion and everything else, was that added pressure to you, or was this more like, all right, this is another goal that I have to obtain?
Both. Like I'm a big fan of pressure sometimes because, in my opinion, I think I perform well under pressure,
Hmm.
um, for the most part.
Right.
And I've never been slight on pressure just because, like, whether it be outside things weighing on me or, like self-doubt or other people's doubt,
Hmm.
sometimes every once in a while, everybody got to go through self-doubt a little bit,
True.
more doubt from other people, and, like get back, be against the wall sometimes. What was that? Oh, sorry. That's them out there. Um, yeah, like I was expected to deal with a certain amount of pressure. I mean, we in the biggest building that we've ever performed in. So I
Hmm.
was trying to make sure that as the marquee match, say I didn't make sure we sell enough tickets. But that was one of the biggest things I was worried about. Saying 2,300, being at 2,300 is cool. It sounds good. But like, we're the Monster Factory and we've been in the building for as long as the Monster Factory's been alive. Like, we've been in that building with 100 people, like,
Right.
so to go to a building where, thousands of people could fit in, I was scared that it was going to be like the same 100 people, So I'm like, I want to make sure we sell tickets. Then I got to make sure we perform well because you know how many people going to be watching. I got to
Right.
make sure the match is good because, I don't know how many, um, and make sure the match is good because, there was high level people on that card. Bear City Bruiser was there, Steve Macklin was there, the Ring of Honor, Vinny and the other,
The tag team they wrestled on stable.
yeah,
Exactly. Deanna Perrazzo was there.
Deanna Purrazzo was there. So, I needed to make sure that, you know, we followed, like we got to make sure our match goes crazy, and that pressure sometimes it either breaks you or it makes diamonds. And I like to think that, it works for me.
Yeah, I remember that day vividly because getting there, like just driving to the arena, and I'm just saying, like, this is huge. And I
Hmm.
remember getting inside, we all went inside, and I could just remember seeing the LED panels with our logo on it, and I completely lost it. I'm like, what the freak is going on?
It was
Like
beautiful.
this is it was huge. I mean, I just literally I couldn't believe I said, we're here.
Hmm.
And it didn't hit me until I got in the ring and I'm just seeing over 1,200 people in 2,300 arena. I said, let's go, baby. Let's go.
Right.
And when I'm standing in the ring and, first it came out, I believe it was what, Goldie,
Yeah, for
Travis
our match.
Jacobs. Yeah.
Our
Then
match, TJ
LSG,
came out first, yeah.
TJ
TJ,
did.
then Goldie, then LSG, then yeah.
And I didn't know that they were going to have pyro for you.
I ain't
And I
either.
and I looked to the side and I'm just saying, "Oh my God." I said,
Yeah,
I think it was me and Ben, the referee. We were just like, "You got pyro, man." I was so excited, but
me
it
too.
fit. It just is like, man. I said, "We're here," and to be the ring announcer for that main event, and Kevin Kelly put this over strong on commentary when he said, they could have gone with a big name, but the fact that these are four Monster Factory kids main eventing their first show at the 2,300 arena says a lot.
Yeah, I
And
mean, my fault. I cut you off.
no, 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 go ahead, go ahead.
I would say, like, looking back on that, it's so crazy. Let me just say this too. I didn't know I was going to pyro either. If you watch, if you watch it back and you see my facial reaction, I don't know how good you are at reading lips, but I saw it. Then I was like, "Let's fucking go!" I was like, I'd never like cursed on like wrestling camera
Wrestling
because
camera,
I
right,
don't.
right, right.
You know what I'm saying? I know it's PG, so when I'm outside, yeah, I can be a little sailor mouth, but like, in a setting, I'm trying, be what I'm trying to be. And I couldn't hold it for that moment. I didn't know it was coming. I was hyped because I wanted pyro so bad, but I figured, like our budget's not gonna allow for pyro. Um, it's interesting, like 3 months before that, we were at the 2,300, me, Goldie, and a couple other people doing extra work like ring crew
Impact. I
friend
was
for
there.
Impact.
I was
Yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah. You remember?
Hmm.
And I'm like, damn, yo, I love to like. It's so surreal when I'm there because I'm like, man, I could be doing this right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't mind doing ring crew, but I'm like, I could be in that ring doing what they do right now.
Hmm.
And then 3 months later, here I am main eventing a card that some of them are on. That was a
Right.
flex for me. You know what I'm saying? That was a big flex for me. Um, damn, that day was so surreal.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Because Progressive offers discounts for paying in full, owning a home, and more. Plus, you can count on their great customer service to help you when you need it, so your dollar goes a long way. Visit Progressive.com to see if you could save on car insurance. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states or situations.
Now, two pigeons bemoaning the fact you can stream DirecTV satellite-free.
These humans can stream all the top-rated national news channels on DirecTV, and now with no satellite dish.
This just in. Weather, sports, election coverage. DirecTV has it all, but something is missing. The satellite dish.
What are you doing?
I'm reporting the news. Back to you, Bob.
Here's some news. You're a buffoon.
Stream the top-rated national news channels. No satellite dish. Visit DirecTV.com. Internet required. Top-rated news based on 2023 Nielsen ratings.
High Five Casino lets you play your favorite slot and live table games, like blackjack, with the chance to redeem for real cash prizes. High Five Casino has a giant selection of over 1,200 games, including hundreds of exclusive games only found on High Five Casino. It's always free to play, and free coins are given out every 4 hours. Ready to have your own high five moment? Visit highfivecasino.com. That's casino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. Must be 21 years or older. Terms and conditions apply.
I remember seeing D'Lo Brown, and it's on the documentary too. D'Lo Brown coming up to you. What was that feeling? A former Monster Factory alum, who's been there and done it, who's been on WrestleMania, who's been in every show you could possibly think of, who's one of the producers at Impact, is coming up to you to critique your match and tell you how good of a job you did. What was that feeling for you?
It was great, but it was essentially everything I was looking for in that moment. Going into that match as big as it was, and the point I've been trying to prove from that moment forward is that, like, I'm contract ready, in my opinion. You know what I mean? And I've done some major growth in the year almost that it's been, because we're almost at a year.
Yeah,
At the end of this month, it'll be a year since that moment. I mean, physically, like, I'm a lot slimmer now. My in-ring work, I would like to think, is a lot better, a lot more crisp. It makes more sense. You know what I'm saying? My gear's better. You know what I'm saying? Like, my brand's bigger. And I've been working towards it. But that moment, like him coming up to me, saying that I had the raw charisma, like literally an ick factor that you can't like find. You can't train this. You can't develop this. This is something you got or you don't got.
can't teach it.
Can't teach it. It was one of those moments for me that like gave me validation, or more so like motivation to keep going. You know what I mean?
Indeed.
And to keep working. I hope that one day, me and D'Lo can do some things in the future. I've been trying to, get to Impact or in all these other places, but time will tell, and the universe works how it needs to work. So I'm not gonna stress it too much.
Absolutely.
Gotta
So
control what I can control.
since the show debuted on March 17th, obviously, I mean, it was in the news wires. I mean, Variety, New York Times, ABC News was reporting on this, and not only on their, websites and in their papers, but also, doing interviews. So how has life changed for you in regards to being in the public eye, and especially being seen as some of these outlets now?
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, it's still business as usual, because I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. Maybe I can explain it, and I know you'll understand because you're someone who grinds so much. When you have something like when you have something you're working towards,
Hmm.
all the outside noise seems almost irrelevant, like
Exactly.
100% of the time.
Right.
So, like, my daily life is a I don't want to say it's a routine because it's really whirlwind. Like things change so much, and it's like rapid things I have to adapt to. But you know what I'm saying? For the most part, wrestling is gonna be as it's gonna be. Like I'm gonna continue to grow, I'm gonna continue to rise, continue to go places, continue to just try to get out there as much as I can.
Hmm.
I can say that ever since the show dropped, I've gotten a lot busier. You know what I'm saying, as far as like bookings go and places I've been, because I haven't really done too many bookings until this year and last year. You know what I'm saying? Like I've been a pro wrestler. I debuted in 2019. I didn't take my first outside booking till like literally November 2021. You know what I mean? Like I'm already 2 years in, and um last year I didn't do too much because I had the title. Now that I don't have a title, you know what I'm saying? I'm free to go wherever I want, and it's been refreshing. You know what I'm saying? To branch out, face the best of the best everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Not just the best of the best in the factory, and to learn more. I've just been developing in a bunch of different locker rooms, trying to give them a taste of what I am, but also try to learn more styles and get better, at putting other things together because it's different for everywhere you go.
Yeah, in every place, and I work for two other places, and it's everything. Every place has its own identity, and that's
Yeah,
okay. That's what makes them them. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
And I love it because it's interesting to kind of see how I can put together a good match wherever I go. You know what I'm saying? That's the goal. No matter where I am, I want to make sure that when I leave, like the fans know who I am. You know what I'm saying? And they like what I do. So yeah.
For sure. Now, obviously, you said you work for a lot of the other different promotions. Now that your bookings are increasing, and that's amazing to see. What's the goal for Bobby Buffet for the remainder of 2023 and beyond?
I want to get that contract. You know what I mean? Plain and simple. I feel like, you know, as much growing as I've done and as much growing as I'm sure I need, like, I'm not gonna say I'm at the level where I don't need to grow anymore because that's just asinine.
Right.
Um, but I believe I'm ready to show people what I could do, like on the bigger stage. Because, what better place to learn than the big stage? You know what I mean? Get my reps there and then I'll become as big a star as I know I can be.
Like I
You know
said
what
a
I mean?
couple of weeks ago on Twitter, I said if you get signed, I said you will be one of the biggest baby faces in the business. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? If they let
I
you be
appreciate
you and be the Bobby Buffet that they sign, there's no doubt in my mind that you can be one of the biggest baby faces in the business on the mainstream level. And you know what I mean? The opportunities can just open up even more.
it. Yeah. And sometimes I'll say things like that, like, oh, I want a contract right now. And it sounds so like, far-fetched or just out of the blue or maybe just out of reach. But I said the same thing about the title when I first started
Right.
training at the factory.
Hmm.
And in 2018, when I was like still in a green shirt and couldn't even do drills, they wouldn't even let me do drills at the camp. I'm like, one day I'm gonna have that title. One day, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like you manifest what you believe in. You know what I mean? Like things will work out in your favor if you grind for it. So
Absolutely.
I'm gonna get a contract one day, definitely.
Awesome, awesome. Well, before we get out of here, just if you want to tell the people where they can find you on social media, where they can find you, as far as your merchandise is concerned, your music, etc., the whole nine yards.
Definitely. I feel like I'm most active on Twitter, but you can find me everywhere at Bobby Buffet MFPW. Even on Instagram, if you search Bobby Buffet, my username is real Bobby Buffet, but Bobby Buffet MFPW will bring you to the same result because I'm the only Bobby Buffet in the world. And if there's another one, they're not me. Um,
Facts.
um, on every single one of my social media, there's a link to everything Bobby Buffet, whether it's merch, music, booking inquiries. I don't even know what else, but like everything, you know what I'm saying? Literally everything Bobby Buffet, it's there. Um, Video links to matches and all that stuff. And I'd love to get in contact with anyone and everyone, because the Bobby Buffet World Tour is kicking off. And it's looking so nice this summer, man. I'm going to Canada. I'm gonna be eating poutine. You know what I'm saying? I got Coliseum Pro Wrestling this Friday. I like going to Connecticut. I love wrestling in Connecticut. Hopefully I get to Wrestling Open some more, because Beyond is a great locker room. And I just want to keep going because I'm hungry for more, bro.
Well, Bobby, like I said before, man, like I said, you're one of the great success stories that I could talk about, years down the road, when you're main eventing for whether it's AEW, WWE, Ring of Honor, Impact, New Japan, whatever it is. I can tell people I remember him win and saw him work, saw him grind, and earn every opportunity that came his way. I could tell people that. I can verify that. So it's an honor, to have you on my platform. I appreciate you taking the time out of your extremely busy schedule to come, talk to us about everything going on in the world of Bobby Buffet. And man, we'll definitely be talking soon.
Definitely, my guy. You know the vibes. You're definitely one person that I can say from the beginning, always been a great pleasure to be around. I do consider you like a big brother to me.
I appreciate that, man.
And I appreciate you being along for this journey. And trust, bro, we got so much more to accomplish, bro, in the future.
Absolutely.
I can't wait to see what it's going to be like. But yeah, we got a lot of shit to go. We got a lot of shit to go through in the future, man.
100%, man. Talking soon.
Definitely.
Now, two pigeons bemoaning the fact you can stream DirecTV satellite free.
These humans can stream all the top-rated national news channels on DirecTV, and now with no satellite dish.
This just in. Weather, sports, election coverage. DirecTV has it all, but something is missing. The satellite dish.
What are you doing?
I'm reporting the news. Back to you, Bob.
Here's some news. You're a buffoon.
Stream the top-rated national news channels. No satellite dish. Visit directtv.com. Internet required. Top-rated news based on 2023 Nielsen ratings.